free of charge. He's not like Bill Gates, who sells it for $300-400 and later on he's apologetic about charging the Americans so much to get the money and wants to give it back. Baha'u'llah says, I went to jail, I wrote 100 volumes of the books. It's all for you for free. Nothing required. I did not write these things to make money out of it. I went to jail for you. I was chained under 100 kilo of chain around his neck. The person who was the son of a noble man. His father was the minister of the Shah. From such noble family. Got wealthy and rich. Gone down to the dungeon for the sake of humanity. He went for the freedom of humanity to get us out because he was suffering from our suffering. You see? Baha'u'llah is suffering. God is suffering that we suffer. Otherwise he would not come. So, the topic is endless. I gave you some hints. Please, for God's sake. What is these notions of the freedom that you have? As long as you are under the influence of another man, how could you be free? What freedom you have? At least a poor scientist discovers the laws of the nature and based on that makes a TV where he doesn't claim anything. One of them is Albert Einstein. Twice he apologized. But you're obedient to all this, from traffic lights to the, name it. You're in such a bondage. All man-made rules. And then God's rule was proven. His authority is bigger than us, way bigger than us. It's a proven fact. His embodiment and his manifestation, which is Baha'u'llah, suffered here so long. His superiority is proven fact. But we don't listen to him. And we think we are belittling ourselves if we listen to him. Exactly like the students in the class, he doesn't want to obey the teacher. And all the teacher wants to do to make him to be free from poverty of the future, from ignorance, from not having money, not having house, not having job. That's all the teacher is trying to do, make him educated, get him a degree. He doesn't want anything from the students. Baha'u'llah is in the same way. His obedience to him is not opposite to freedom. He's the doctor and the teacher as prescriptions for us to become healthy. I don't see that. Well, my friend, then we're suffering. A man who doesn't know there is another, his life continues in a form of a software when he dies. How can that man be free? I can't think of it. I would suicide immediately if I know that there is no life after death. We cannot call it life existence. Just the baby in the womb of the mother, when it's 2 months, 3 months, comes down, dies. 5 months, 6 months, even dies. But it comes after 9 months, he reaches to a consistency, then he's alive. Same as us. If your soul, if your software reaches to a consistency, then after the body is gone, the software exists and it stays on its own. Becomes firm. Body is like a mold, you know. If it is filled up with a substance, when the mold goes, then what's gone inside, it stays. But if it doesn't have consistency, part of the, you know, place is full, part is not, the shell breaks, the content pours right on the ground. He will become a bewildering sperms. So only one of them becomes, you know, lucky to fuse with the egg to become the zygote. The rest of them goes back to the toilet. What do we want to do now? How can we have thinking power and then we think our needs are just like animals? How? It's very clear. If you want to eat and sleep and use the bathroom and have sex, you don't need to think. Billions of different species are doing it without thinking power. The result of thinking, there must be something else. It depends how much you contemplate on the issue. But if you do, then you come where I am. It is only because of the mission of Baha'u'llah and the order that I have, and for your own sake, I'm here. Every time in this world, I'm suffering in this damn body. I have sickness. I'm sitting beside so many people that are so sick, they stink. The germs of sedition and seductions, the germs of arrogance and jealousy. It's so stinking. How could I have freedom? But I'm staying here. I'm hoping finishing these things off that I'm talking to you. Then maybe my father, finish my contract and I go back in the world of the software. I have to turn into my software. Now I'm captured in this computer of the body for a purpose. To talk to you guys. Please contemplate on these things. I'm not a priest. I'm just a contractor. I go on the ladder to install siding and eavesdrop and install windows, and that's how I make my money. Most of my life I worked for myself. Maybe sometimes a couple of people work with me here and there. I did not even exploit other people. It's just, it is so dirty that I have to take extra material with me. Every one of these things then must have a place in my brain. I'm sorry, I cannot have my C drive, cannot have all these junks in it. Just delete it. I'm in it, for the reason that I have to be. One of them is to be able to communicate with you and explain things that I know in this reconstruction of the Baha'i faith. Ah, Lord. Very well. It will get better. Mankind has pulled out of the problem ever since it was in a cave. Came right down here now. God is overall happy. I always thank God in my meditation for fulfilling His promises, which He doesn't have to. Fulfilling His promises and appeared in the earth in the embodiment and manifestation of Baha'u'llah to bring us the mission of the Baha'i faith. This earth has been walked by Him. Then we are blessed. All my knowledge comes from Him. These things that I mentioned, these names here and there, is only for the purpose of finding what's wrong. I haven't learned anything from anybody else. It was all from the nature, and it was all from reading of the Baha'i faith. Others, they must have taught me science, reading, writing. As a kid, I liked the writing of Dostoevsky. Complicated mind he had for me as a child, you know. I was only 16 years old. And I found the reality is something else, and since my gladness, my happiness is connected to you, and I know you're suffering all over the world you are, because of lack of this balance. The teaching of Buddha 5,000 years ago was still, my God, we don't know it. Many thousand years ago, you know, Buddha have told us balance. We still have missed it. That teaching is gone. We don't understand it. And the teaching of the Christ, and the teaching of the Muhammad about knowledge and understanding, teaching of the Christ about loving others. He calls it neighbor, but then every human being is neighbor of each other. We can just love the neighbors. The whole planet will be in love. Or the laws of Moses. We're breaking even those laws of 3,500 years ago. People abide by those, and we're breaking it today. And a couple of geniuses among us, Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, few of them. They brought all this invention, and we think as a result of their progress, now we're civilized too. We have lost all our linkage to our mother and the father. Basically, the West is going back to cave, to begin from monkey. Because the simple notions and the feelings of humanity, of helping each other, of love, was gone. This is the problem with not having religion. And those who have religions, another sickness they have. So either they're starving, as in the West, or they're eating expired food in the East. So the purpose of these talks is not to edit it, to create some artistic videos, you know, put together, cut it, you know, like Hollywood does. I promised myself that I will not edit these things. So if I bring years or dates, I say Buddha 5,000, of course it wasn't 5,000 years ago. When I bring these things, I do not want to audit it. But my purpose is not to govern your mind, you know. I'm just outside there giving you some ideas. I have no claim. Don't give me the job of calling me a leader of any sort. You can't afford me, I'm too expensive. Trust me. I don't want to be a leader of mankind. That's a job that I would not accept to do that. The entire humanity doesn't have the money to give me to do that. I'm doing it on behalf of our Father, Father God, Mother Earth, which is Baha'u'llah, which is your father and my father, and we're all in the family. And he's asking me to do something. Do something, Abbas. And I am. Because of him, I am here today, or else I would have been lost in an unknown grave, dying for an unknown cause. God knows what would that be happening otherwise. All right, talk to you later. Good night.